Alright, welcome to another episode of Dave Makes Food. Today we have another review of the world's greatest food, and we'll be checking out Happy Lamb Hot Pot. Formerly known as Little Sheep, this was actually the first hot pot restaurant I ever went to. This is the downtown Toronto location, and along with all the other hot pot restaurants, they seem to have some pretty good specials currently. They're offering an all-you-can-eat lunch special for $21.99 and dinner for $29.99. It seems that lunch only comes with half the menu, however. Happy Lamb had some broths that you don't really see at other hot pot restaurants, such as curry, lamb spine, and hot and sour. And with hot and sour soup being my favorite, I had to give that broth a try as well. The dinner options were on the back, and most of the premium options were here. It was definitely worth the extra $8. It's been a few years since I've come to this hot pot location, but it looks the exact same. The sauce and snack bar have gotten an upgrade since the last time I visited, however. The kimchi and pickled vegetables were all delicious. Beef tendon is a pretty expensive ingredient and isn't offered at most all-you-can-eat hot pot places, so it was nice to see. The meat here was extremely high quality and sliced very thin, which made it really tender. I also made my usual spicy and sour dipping sauce. The tomato broth was very good. Happy Lamb is famous for its 8-hour bone marrow broth, which I'm pretty sure is the base for all its soups. Tomato was more of a secondary flavor, but this was still a really good broth. The hot and sour broth was, as you'd expect, hot and sour, but also very rich from what I'm assuming was also the bone broth. There was a pretty strong herbal, bitter, and fermented flavor from what appeared to be pickled cabbage or mustard greens. It's definitely not for everyone, but those are all flavors that I really enjoy. There were also some dried goji berries, which added some sweetness and medicinal flavor. I'd give this broth an 8 out of 10, but I won't be using it in the rating. Tendon is delicious. It doesn't really have a flavor, but it slightly soaks up the broth, and it's just really gelatinous. Definitely not for everyone, but I love this texture, and it's also supposed to be good for your skin. The broths are on the salty side, and they refill your pot with more of the broth, so it concentrates and gets extra salty. So to avoid that, I fill it with water when they're not looking. For my second round, I got some glass noodles, udon noodles, tofu skin, rice cakes, konnyaku, and more enoki mushrooms. The shrimp here were only okay. They had a kind of bitter flavor that wasn't really enjoyable. I also got this Chinese popsicle at the end. I'm not exactly sure, but I think this was butter or cream flavor. It was really rich, creamy, and sweet, and it wasn't icy like a normal popsicle. I didn't personally enjoy it, but I think most people would. But anyways, we're not here to rate the popsicle. How did Happy Lamb score using our standard rating system? The broth here was very good. The bone broth flavor was more prominent than the tomato broth, which is fine since the 8-hour bone marrow broth is what Happy Lamb is known for. I still prefer the tomato broths at Louis Xiao and Heidi Lau more since they have a stronger tomato flavor, and this one was a little bit on the salty side, but it's definitely the third best tomato broth I've tried, so it gets a 7.8 for broth. With regard to ingredient quality, they have some of the best sliced meats here, both in terms of quality and how thinly they're sliced. Only Matsute Sukiyaki had better sliced meats in my opinion. The tenon was also nice to have as an option, and I really enjoyed the udon noodles here. The rest of the ingredients were basically the same as all the other hot pot restaurants, so we're going to give Happy Lamb an 8.8 for ingredient quality. Similar to every other hot pot restaurant these days, Happy Lamb also had all the sauce ingredients you could really need to make your dipping sauce. The side dishes and hot food were a little bit on the cheap side, but I really enjoyed the pickled vegetables, so I can't really complain. This is a very average but still very acceptable sauce and snack bar. Service was mostly done by a robot, but all the items I ordered arrived quickly, so I don't really have any complaints. And finally, as for value, this is 100% the best value all-you-can-eat hot pot lunch and dinner specials I've seen this far. I don't really see how it can get better for these prices. $21.99 for lunch or $29.99 for dinner, all you can eat with good quality meats and broths is an extremely good deal. Happy Lamb gets a 9.9 for value because I don't really think anyone is going to beat these prices for this quality. Overall, this is a great place to get very good quality meats and hot pot broths for a very fair price. It scores slightly lower than Louis Xiao and Heidi Lau simply for the tomato broth quality, even though they cost slightly more. For the same price of 3 visits to either of the other two, you could visit Happy Lamb 4 times, and if I had to choose, I'd probably pick the 3 visits to either of the other 2 hot pot restaurants. So for that reason, Happy Lamb gets a total score of 42.8. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my review of Happy Lamb Hot Pot. It was a great dining experience overall. I also hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next Hot Pot review.